Yo, for another edition of Jofo in the Ring. And yes, my name is Frank Jofo, and we have a special guest. Jacques Rougeau The Mountie is back. What's going on, Jacques?
Hey, Frank, thank you so much for having me on board and having me on your podcast. That's such a pleasure. And, we're so excited of what's going on in the last year and what's coming up in the next year. And we got so many good things to talk about Wrestling Academy. So, Frank, I'm going to go ahead and just put the table and let you ask me a few questions if you want.
Yes. Well, you know what? It felt like it was just yesterday we were crowning the winners of Lutte Academy. And here we are a couple, 3-4 months later now, and a new batch of wrestlers are coming up now for Lutte Academy 2. We're excited about that. Can you tell us a little bit what's going on with the second edition of Lutte Academy?
Well, it's amazing there. It's just amazing what happened last year, and I want to thank you guys again. You made it possible. You and Bruno that made it possible for us to have QT Marshall on the giant screen. It's thanks to you guys that everything worked perfectly.
It was good.
And it was so exciting on the 26th of August when we had, I think it was the 26th or the 28th. Anyway, in the month of August there where we had the elimination and QT came on board. I was like a little kid there. I even called some shots. And I didn't even make the right calls. QT Marshall overcalled me, and it was amazing. An amazing night for Matt Black, Chris Dillon, and Jeremy Prophet, our hero, and Jessica Black. We're so happy, our local heroes that made it to the Nightmare Factory. And it's so funny because just yesterday was their last night at the Nightmare Factory, and what a great 3 months they had. I stopped by in Atlanta about 2 weeks ago.
We saw that. Yeah.
And it was just amazing to see how much they had a great time over there, and they learned so much. And because they had three great coaches. They had QT Marshall, of course, then they had Billy Gunn, and then I didn't even know that for a long time, but Cody Rhodes, he became a coach there too.
He was there a lot more often than I thought he was, Jacques. I saw pictures and videos with him there, and then obviously when you were there, we saw him there as well.
I saw him in the ring, and it's incredible how these guys are like moving around still, like young kids.
He just tore his pec too, eh? Did you know that?
I know. Yeah, I know. And it was so funny because he was telling me, Jacques, don't film anything because I'm not supposed to be wrestling now. I'm on layoff from WWE. So, but Cody was just awesome, and I was so happy to speak with him. Just in parentheses there, because I worked for his dad. Dusty Rhodes in 1979 in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Nightmare Factory is. His dad was the booker there, and he was working with Ole Anderson, and there was a NWA at the time, and it was TBS Wrestling. It was so hot, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and I was just a jobber then. It was so funny because, but Dusty, he kept me in the territory for a year and a half, doing jobs for favors for everybody. Usually you don't keep a jobber that long.
What a world we live in, eh? Then you look 30, 40 years later and you're side by side with him at the Nightmare Factory doing with his Academy, son. It's great.
It's amazing.
What a world.
And what was fun too, it was like talking to all the guys, I didn't think that they would have picked up so much good pointers and good things, because Jeremy Prophet's been wrestling for 17 years, and so you think a guy like that, he'd go there and he was doing politically correct. They're just going through the 3 months and hoping to open doors and stuff. But it was amazing because when I was sitting down with him, he kept telling me, Jacques, I learned a bunch of stuff. I'm learning, and so I was so happy. I didn't expect that. And Matt Black, it was funny because we were there, and I got to tell you this: we're in the pro shop, and Billy Gunn's wife, she's the one that works in the pro shop, and she told us, she was talking to Natalie and me, and she was saying like, "Oh, I told QT you got to sign up Matt Black. You got to sign him up, for AEW." and I was looking at Natalie, wow, this is exciting, and plus Jeremy, and all the guys had a chance to wrestle in Georgia Championship Wrestling in the Carolinas and Florida. They worked all the territories around that place, so they even were talking about some people in Impact that they talked about over there. They made all kinds of contact So it was an
Well,
amazing.
I saw somebody that was there, and I didn't know he was Canadian. Magnum McLaren, is that possible? He's Canadian.
Amazing. He's Canadian. He's going to be part of Wrestling
Yeah,
Academy 2023. And I met him in Orlando last week. He came to meet me with his dad at the
yeah,
resort, the Walt Disney Resort. He came to say hello to me. And actually, we had lunch together, and he bought me lunch. His father bought me lunch, and I told him, I said, you can't buy the judges, don't try to buy the judges. But his father was really nice, and what a nice kid, a really nice kid, Magnum. So it's going to be so exciting. To see all these these great talent, because I'm thinking, Frank, of last year when we had the inscriptions come in for Wrestling Academy.
yeah,
Let's put the truth on the table there. We had like 22 Canadians, Quebecers, 22 Quebecers out of the 40, and there was only 18 through Canada, and
yeah.
and there was a lot of people in across Canada that were questioning Wrestling Academy's credibility.
Of
Like,
course.
hey, the $5,000,
Yeah.
really? Jacques gonna really
People
pay?
people are still people still think they didn't get the $5,000, Jacques.
Yeah,
So
they
to
got.
this
Believe
point,
me, they got.
you know what I
Believe me,
mean.
they got
Everything is
some.
on the table now. Everything is out in the newspapers, TV, YouTube, everything. So if everyone wants to come in and say something, they can, because you know what,
No,
people got their money, people got their scholarship, and you know what, the
and
most important thing, they got opportunity, and that's what you gave these
they
wrestlers in
they
Canada.
got great opportunity, especially that the funniest thing is, I know there was like in AEW's debut in Toronto, there was like I would say there was about 30 wrestlers backstage from
Yeah,
Canada, and not everybody had a chance to wrestle on AEW, but my four winners, and
yeah,
they did the first
yeah.
night too, they wrestled on
Well,
Rampage, Dark, and
Bruno, that Jeremy was the official first match in Canada for
amazing.
AEW.
He
If
made history.
20 years from now, 30 years from now, who was the first match to wrestle in Canada? Jeremy Prophet and Jessica Neary, Jessica Black. So congratulations to them, and thank you to you, Sean. So for that,
No,
that
no, no.
would
But
have never happened without you, man.
and it was so amazing because now the funny thing where I'm getting at with this conversation is like out of the 40 inscriptions, like the 22 we had in Quebec and only
Yeah.
18 in Canada, this year, because of what happened and because of everything that happened, we received something like between 60 and 70 inscriptions.
Wow.
But we only got like 11 or 12 from Quebec.
Okay.
And we
Ooh.
got all the rest from Canada. So the word got out in Calgary and Edmonton and Vancouver, and everybody like, hey, this is serious stuff here. This is really.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this year, Jacques Rougeau is giving the three winners $10,000 each. So
And
now we're talking 10 G's there. I made that at WrestleMania 10. So so that's a lot of money, $10,000. And plus the 3 months at the Nightmare Factory is also amazing because like you said, of all the contacts. So now
yeah,
you'll see when you put that video later on at the end of this podcast, if you have a chance to put the video of all the inscriptions,
yeah.
you'll see the la qualité, the quality of the performers. It's going to be, the level's going to be much higher. And what's fun about Frank this year? I'll tell you why. There's few things that are telling me that this is such a great project. The first one is the next day that QT Marshall called the winners on the giant screen.
Yeah.
The next day we talked. And before I had a chance to say anything, QT Marshall, I just thanked him. QT Marshall told me, he said, Jacques, we're doing this again this year. And then I said, yeah, I was hoping you'd say that. I was hoping you'd say that for another
Nice,
3 months,
nice.
another
Yeah.
3 months. And it's amazing. And then he said, yeah, but Jacques, we're going to make it a little different next year. He said, next year, he says, I want to be there to choose the contestants too. It's not all
Wow.
you. And then he says, I want to be there for the quarterfinals on the giant screen. I want to be there for the
Wow.
semifinals, and I want to be there on the finals. I said, well, I'm going to have to ask Frank and Bruno, see if they want to do all three shows there,
Well, you
all
know
four
what? If
shows.
QT needs a place to stay, he could even stay at our house if he wants. It's no problem.
so, so,
But yeah,
so,
that's no
so,
problem. No problem.
so we became like his little pet project there, like he said,
Great.
he doesn't only want to be there for the finals. He wanted to be there. So 2 weeks ago, when we start choosing the videos, we had like 70 videos to go
Oh
through,
man.
and he had so much fun. He was sitting beside me, he was watching every video, and I got to know QT too. It was,
Yeah.
I didn't know the guy before this experience at all. And so I'm sitting beside him, and it's so funny because a lot of the inscriptions, I learned a lot about him because when we were looking at the inscription, I'm sure he was going to take this guy example. I put a video on, and then Natalie's beside me, so she puts the video on, and there we.
But
So we
just to
start.
clarify it to everybody, Jacques, like you said, you have no, there's nothing you could do to pick a winner here. It's all judges and everything, right? So
It's all
your
just, yeah, and it's all
influence,
QT. Now it's all QT
exactly,
Marshall.
just
There's
for
no more.
everyone to know if they
It's
didn't know
not
that
even
before.
any more judges
Yeah,
anymore. Like you're gonna
yeah.
be judged on the ring, but QT Marshall is the one picking the
There
winners
you go.
final, and
Yeah,
that's it. He's gonna be looking over what
unbelievable.
the judges will say. In other words, the judges will say their comments, say who they think they should win, like we did last year. I did last year like that, and then QT just came up on. And he said, "I'm gonna take this person. I'm gonna take that person. I'm gonna take." So he's the boss now. I'm not the boss anymore of this project. He is. But what's great there was I was going onto this project. What's really fun is there's another thing that's amazing is you have a lot of top talent that people like all the indies they know the talent that's really extraordinary.
Yeah.
They know the talent that are one step ahead of everybody. There's always a few. And this year when I took an example like on the 7th of May 2023 on our first show with my first match I signed up was a giant Orion, which is a I don't
Yeah,
know,
6'9"
6'10".
or something.
So he's a monster,
I don't
and
want to piss
and,
that guy
and
off.
he's going against Jesse V, which was one of the guys that were picked to go to
Yeah,
AEW,
yeah,
and I thought he was going to win also,
yeah.
and he didn't, but I thought he was going to be. So what I did is, contrary to what everybody thought, they were trying to say like to me in the last few months, like, oh yeah, Jacques going to protect a lot of people, like like put some guys that are not so good against a really good talent. So at the end, it's really exciting, but that's
Yeah.
not what I'm doing. I'm taking the best talent right off the bat, and I'm putting them nose to nose. So like
You're making a match that could potentially be a finals match in the first round of the Lutte Academie. And why not?
absolutely, and where
Why
it's
not?
going to be exciting for everybody. It's going to be exciting for the fans, for the wrestlers, and what's fun about the wrestlers too is they see me put this match together, and the first thing that would come to mind if I was in their shoes would be like, hey, that's great. Two that could win this competition. One's going to be out in the quarterfinals, so that's a spot for me. So
Yeah.
it's going to be so exciting for them. But most importantly, it's going to be exciting because I can't wait to pass my comments and the commentaries and doing the judges, and then passing the voice over to QT Marshall, he's going to have to eliminate somebody for $10,000 right off the bat and say you're in and you're out.
So
And
we could potentially have a QT Marshall Jacques Rougeau commentary team right here on Lutte Academy.
yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's funny that you say that because Natalie's beside me and she just reminded me. But you know who's going to be commentating with me in the Wrestling Academy next year is Jeremy
Let us know.
Prophet.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah,
The one and only.
Jeremy's going to be doing the
I
voiceovers
like
with
that.
me and Michel Monette. They're the captain there that was
I
there.
like that. I like that.
So from Care Montreal. So it's going to be all three of us doing the commentaries,
That's great. That's
which is going
great.
to be fun because what a talker Jeremy is, and he knows
Yes,
all
we
the
all
moves.
know that.
He'll be able to share the experience he had also, at Wrestling
Yeah.
Academy and all that. So this is an amazing contest, and we're excited too because in the next 2 weeks, although we've turned the page on Wrestling Academy 2022, I haven't yet because in 2 weeks from now, Zash Man from Australia who joined this competition from the outside from Australia. He was having all his podcasts that I did during the year. He
Okay.
actually made 4 wrestling figurines of our winners of this year,
Okay. Wow.
and they're going to be coming out in 2 weeks.
Oh,
People are
great,
going to be.
great, great.
So Jeremy Prophet's going to have his doll there, and Jessica Black they're going to have the doll. And then Matt Black and Chris Dillon. So that was another thing that was part of the gifts that they had this year. So it's going to be an amazing contest.
Well, for me, you know what? It was exciting because we got to see new stars in Canada, which you know what? At the beginning, I didn't know who Bjorg was. Now look at Bjorg. He's a heavyweight Commonwealth champion right now. He's doing well. Jesse V is doing well. Amy Crimson as well. All the returning people from the first one, but there is a lot of new people from Lutte Academy too that are coming out from out west, like you said. So the competition is there. So if somebody that was there the first year thinking that, oh, you know what, I have an advantage of being there from the first year, I don't know, because there's a lot of great wrestlers out there that didn't subscribe the first year, and
Exactly.
now they're here saying like, "Wow, $5,000.
Mhm.
Now it's 10. 3 months at the Nightmare Factory, getting to rub shoulders with QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes. Why not? Why
Hey,
not?"
it's all about being at the right place at the right
But
time.
there
I've
you
always said
go.
that, and knowing the right people. And there's a lot of guys like Richard Blay, and there's a guy
Yeah,
like Bobby Sharp. That's a match that I put together too. Like, people don't even know this talent out
yeah.
east, but out west, Bobby Sharp against Richard Blay is like the comment c'est Richard, comment ça s'appelle? Sean Moore. Sean Moore is
Okay.
against Bobby. I didn't know the guy Sean Moore. I didn't. I've learned to know a lot of talent
Yeah.
that I didn't know when I got the videos. But I saw the video of Sean Moore, and then I saw, and he comes from out west, and then Bobby Sharp. Everybody was telling me, like, and from just about everywhere, like, Jacques, that guy Bobby Sharp there, he's a lion there, man. He's a lion, like, he's this. So I put those two together, one against each other, and these are two buddies, that have come out west, but they didn't expect to be facing each other, right off the bat. And then
Unbelievable.
you take the girls match. We have so many girls this year, like, compared to last year, because let's be honest with you, there was a lot of haters last year that tried to destroy this project. But unfortunately, now it's their history, and
Yep.
it's so we have all these girls now that joined in and see the credibility. We got a match that we set up there. It's Casey Spinelli and Chantal Leroy. You remember Chantal
Yes,
Leroy
of
from
course.
the
Yes, of
East
course.
Coast?
Yes. She went to the
They're
final.
teaming up as heels against Smiley and Miley and Emma. Ça c'est Miley and Nikita. Huh? Nikita. All these
Yes.
girls, I don't know these girls. It's funny because I got all the videos and I'm so excited. I'm looking at the videos now. My girlfriend saying, "Hey, you watched enough of this." And I'm looking at all these talents and I'm going like, "Holy shit, this is big time this year." Like, all the creme de la creme that's coming out. And so we booked this match, and of all these girls that come out, that like the Triple R there. What's her name though? Rose. Rally. No, what's her name? Triple R. Holy shit. Relentless Riley Rose.
Okay.
Keep an
That's
eye on her. And
okay.
she's going up against a girl. Yeah, she's 17. Who's the girl that she's going up against there? Another great little girl that works with Richard Blay at the school there. Zoe Zager. And Zoe Zager against Triple R. I booked this match together. Wait till you see I saw the videos of both of these. And all this to say, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, if you go on wrestling-academy.ca, the same address as last year, you will see all the talent was removed from this year, and it's all the new faces are in, so you can
Nice.
go see the talents. And in this week here, coming up, my girlfriend Natalie, she's the boss there on the internet, so she's going to be putting all the new videos, so you'll be able to go check out the talent. Of every, I'm thinking of, man, there's so many talent. I don't want to start naming them because I'll forget some, but it's amazing. So go on wrestling-academy.ca in the next week or so, and you'll discover all the talent that's going to be joining Wrestling Academy, and it's 2023, and I'm very excited. I got to tell you, Frank, I haven't felt like this in a long time about wrestling, and
Well, Jacques, you know what? We've seen it. I feel like I've seen a resurgence in Jacques Rougeau, and you know what? Only time will tell. The future will tell how great this is going to be. And I can't wait. But I cannot talk about you not being singing on that French station, the French
the
show.
math
Can
the
you
math
talk about, because
singer.
you know what? I was going through I was going through all the little things, and I'm like, is that Jacques? I go, it sounds like him, but
The lobster.
the lobster. But I think the Virginia was the one that caught me. That was like, I think,
West Virginia. Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
think you've
But
talked about that song before. So
I had so much fun singing Jailhouse Rock and Old Town Road. I'm gonna take my horse
yeah,
to the Old Town Road. That was really, listen. There was a lot of work put in there. Like,
I
it
can
was like
imagine. I'm
three.
not a singer, so
And just for the people who didn't know, I had a really, really rough time with my health in the spring of this year
yeah.
that just went by. And all that was happening when I was recording the songs and everything, the operations. I had like 4 operations in 3 months. And
Okay.
I was coming out of the hospital to go do my recordings and doing my dancing. And then, like, I had to go like 3 times a week to go one day
Okay.
for dancing because I didn't want to step all over the girls dancing around
Oh,
me,
you
and
wear
I
a
had to.
towel there. Nobody sees you. Like how does that work? Like
Oh, that's amazing. They had they gave us these black suits there, they had black gloves, black shoes. You
okay,
couldn't you couldn't see if I was a black man or a white man when I came
okay,
into that place.
okay,
And I wasn't allowed to talk, so I had a thing on my
okay.
face and everything. So nobody. And it's so
Wow.
funny because as some people got eliminated more and more, I realized that they were in the dressing rooms beside me, and nobody knows who the other contestants are. And like I didn't know Rabbi Pichet was one of them. The flight that
Yeah.
he
Yes.
he was one, and there was a lot of people that I didn't know that they were there. So it's really well done, that show. It really is, and it's funny because I'll send you the clip. So if you want
Okay.
to join that in
Sure.
there and clip it
Sure.
on here, and you'll see, I'll send one of my songs for the people who didn't see it. It was
Yeah.
really it was fun because it took me. There's two things that happened there. First of all, why it was fun is because it took me out of my comfort zone. To dance and to sing is not in a wrestling ring. There, it's a.
Well, I don't know, Jacques. You've sang your entrance
Oh, yeah,
music.
yeah, that's
You've
true
sang
too.
okay, but not live to the ring, but before. But to sing live in front of people with a costume, I can
and,
imagine.
wrestling,
But you
and
have done it though, Jacques. Though.
and wrestling is a dance.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
But that was one thing though. No, but it really took me out of my comfort zone because it was like uh, being with all some of them are real singers, and they were
Yeah.
really in their own. But we started, there was about 20, and I lasted till there was about 8. So I sang 4 songs. So I was very very happy with what happened there. And plus, like I said, it was good energy for me because. Of all the health problems I was having.
Yeah.
I was depressed there because, like, for 2 weeks out of all the operations I had, once they were all over with, they were talking about the last day when I finished my 3 months at the hospital. I was getting my release from the hospital, and they took my last bag that I had on my leg there because it was coming out of my side there. And I caught a bacteria. And then so then they were talking about open heart surgery because there was a little bacteria that went right in front of my heart, and then it was right in front of where the heart of the blood goes in the
Okay.
heart, and they were afraid that it was go to my brain. So after 3 months in the hospital, they tell me they kept me an extra 3 weeks in between walls,
Yeah, we
and
saw
I
that.
had a
Yeah.
pick line here. And like every 3 hours, they were coming in the middle of the night all the time, coming to give me antibiotics for like 3 weeks, and me not knowing for 2 weeks if they're gonna cut me up like a lobster, is the case
Yeah.
of saying it. They're gonna cut me up like a lobster and open up my rib cage, and I had to take that little thing out because they were afraid. But finally, the antibiotics made that disappear, that little
Okay.
thing, so they didn't have to open heart surgery. So doing that masked singer at the same time gave me life. Gave me some kind of hope. And
Oh man, and you know what? Last time you were here, we you know what? I have to talk about it. We talked about you with the WWE Hall of Fame, and look, we have the sign right here, Jacques Rougeau for the Hall of Fame.
wow, I
We're
didn't
always
even
put
see that. Look at
this. We
that.
we brought this. We had this at the AEW, if I'm not
No
mistaken.
way.
Yeah,
No
they
way.
brought it there to Jofo in the ring as well. But last time we talked about it, Vince McMahon was in charge. Now he's not in charge. Do you have a message for Triple H now for the WWE Hall of Fame, Jock?
To be honest with you, I've sent all my hints and my messages out. If if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. It's almost impossible for someone to say that. You'll never hear someone say that. But I think I deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I think all the people that I worked with are in the Hall of Fame. The people that I did angles with Brett, with the Bulldogs, with Bossman, with you name it,
Yeah.
everybody I work with, they're in the Hall of Fame. And it takes two to tangle. So while those guys were working, like I worked 4 years against the Heart Foundation. And I think there's something. I'm not sure if I'm maybe talking. Gaga here, but I think Brett's twice in the Hall of Fame. Is that possible? Like
Yeah, a Heart
he's in.
Foundation and himself as Bret Hart.
So yeah, and both times he worked with me. So like
There you go. Yeah.
I always said, to create Batman, it takes a good Joker.
Yeah.
And so I think, and I even think of guys like Steve Lombardi, and Barry Orwitz, the guys, all the
Yeah.
guys that
Yeah.
used to job for us. Those guys made us. So they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame too, because if you take Barry Orwitz and you take example Steve Lombardi and you give him a great push for years and years, he's going to become really popular and he's going to get over big time. but his role was to put the guys over to do
Yeah.
jobs. So, but he did
And
his job so
it
well.
made everyone else look like $1 million too in the process.
Exactly, exactly. So it takes two to tangle. So anyway, my message is clear. Is like I've had a lot of people tell me too, like Jacques, in our hearts in Quebec, you're already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So that's good for me. I'll just I can I go to Comic Cons, and everywhere around the world. I've got one in L.A. next week, and
Nice.
I'm going everywhere with these Comic Cons, and I got one in Toronto actually in 2 weeks
Oh
from now.
wow.
I'm leaving Orlando, going to Toronto, coming back here to stay finish my winter. But I'm going to a convention in Toronto, which is absolutely amazing. They got pro hockey players, like they got pro baseball players, and they got one pro wrestler, and that's me. And then they got, and we're going to speak in front of it's like a charity event in Canada. You'll probably hear about it. I'll send you the
Okay.
link in
All
anyway.
right. Yeah, for sure.
But it's amazing, so all these things that I do around the world, and I'm still very, very popular. I came back from England a couple of months ago to do one. I was with Brett over there, and so I think that it's just maybe maybe when I die they'll put me in the Hall of Fame.
Well, let's hope. I hope it's before that because now with the new ownership and everything with Triple H, everything is getting opened up now. People are wrestling in Japan, so you never know what can
But
happen here.
Frank, to be honest with you, I'm just so happy now to. I don't want to talk about me anymore. I want to talk about this opportunity that all these youngsters have and all the great talent. Like if you really want to make me happy, then go on wrestling-academy.ca, and I'm happy to. Like you say, take the torch and pass the
Yeah.
torch now. I'm an old timer now. I still got a little bit of guns here,
Ooh.
but I'm getting back in shape there. But I'll never be back in the ring, and I'll never. These just for my personal. But I'm so happy to have all these young talent to write to me, and in private to see them all so excited. Like I ask for videos for them for the YouTube station or this, or I ask them. I call them up and I just say, "Can you do me a promo for this show?" They're all there and they're so happy. They're excited, so they're living their dream,
Yeah.
and I'm just happy that I'm part of that.
Well, we have a little video here from two of the winners here from Lutte Academie. Right here, Jacques Rougeau's Lutte Academie, Jeremy Prophet, and Jessica Neary, aka Jessica Black, wanted to say a little something to Jacques right here.
Yeah.
Listen up.
Hi, Jacques. Thank you so much for everything. We're about to start our long trek back home, but we are so appreciative for everything that you've done for us.
Yep. Thank you so much for creating Wrestling Academy, for giving us the opportunity to come here to Atlanta, to the Nightmare Factory, to do the work, and to get to live our American dream. Thank you so much, and best of luck to those competing in Wrestling Academy 2023.
There you have it. Nice
Wow,
message to Jacques.
that's absolutely amazing. I'm absolutely touching and amazing. And I love these kids. I swear to God, if I had to adopt kids, I think I'd adopt them. They were so there's so much good people. I've worked with them through the whole year, and I went to Jessica's school to do even a bullying
Yes.
conference, and but everything we've done, and I got to tell you more than that. Because you all saw that QT Marshall's the one that really chose everybody, in the winning. But they were my favorites. They were my favorites. I was hoping for them to win, but I was just in all this. I
Yeah.
just wanted to stay just. But what a great feeling for me to see them talk like that, and it's nice. And I had a thought there is going to come back to me what I wanted to say. It's so touching.
I remember there was Sexy Eddie there too as well last year. Is there going to be other guest judges and guest teachers there as
Yeah,
well?
there's gonna be Mathieu de Gong who's gonna be there this year, which he wrestled at sex with his son.
XS, yes, yeah.
But his son didn't want to pull join this year, and there
Okay.
was a couple there that I was surprised that didn't want to join back in there. There was that tall guy too there from comment ça s'appelait donc Sainte Sophie. Ian Harrison. Ian
Okay.
Harrison. I'm surprised he didn't join too. And there was like Chouinard, the little Chouinard kid, and they were doing really good. There was a
Yeah.
couple of them that didn't want to
Matis Mir?
join in.
Matis Mir?
Mathias Mies, he's in there.
Yeah.
He's coming
Okay.
back for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But Mike Chouinard, there, Michael Chouinard. I was surprised he didn't join because they did really well last year. I think maybe they thought the talent was too big, or I don't know. But
Yeah, maybe
what a great
there's always the year after, you know. So
no, but not only that, it's I'm sorry for that but I'm
yeah,
still keeping his dad in his ex for he's going to be a coach. He's going to help and put. He's a
nice.
great worker. His
Oh
dad.
yeah,
So they're
veteran in the
going.
game.
Yeah. So he's going to be good to help the talent that's there on place, and yeah, I'm going to have, I'll say, Martin Villeneuve, the guy from Gatineau, the Crow. He used to wrestle as the Crow
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be there also to help too, and so I kept a couple of good coaches there. It's all teamwork, eh? You know, it's all, and I don't have time to do everything when I'm on the set. There, you saw how it is. It's like a
Yeah, yeah,
crazy
yeah,
house, you know.
exactly.
A lot of things to take care, and I'm nervous because I got to do the voiceovers, and I'm not a pro, and you know that. You know, it's so funny. I got to tell you something that's really, really funny, because
Go for
for
it.
me, I laugh about it right now, but at the time I didn't. But anyway, I have no idea how to do commentating, you know, in wrestling. You know, I don't even know the moves. I'm just going like, wow, and oh man, what a great move,
And then
and you
you
know,
even forget you're commentating too.
and and it's so funny. So here I got this guy from Kanawagi, you know, the dad is Bod, what's son nom, Kyle
Kyle.
Well,
Zachary.
Kyle
Zachary.
Kyle
Zachary. Yeah.
Zachary. So he's you know he's from there, Kanawaki, you know. So I'm going like this in French, and I'm saying like so I'm going like this, and I'm saying like French, like so in French, you know, it's like so he's tu manges un coup, tu sais. Tu manges un coup, like, you know, when you're when you drink a lot, you know, and so I'm just making fun of it, like, you know, oh, those guys could take un coup, you know, like just having, and I have no idea that politically correct, you can't say stuff like that, you know, and there I'm going a little further, I'm going like, well, he's in trouble, maybe he should start doing the rain dance, you know, and then, and I'm just having a blast commentating, but you can't do that, you know,
Oh man.
so I learned a lot too in my experience. It was so funny because Cal Zachary, he's the nicest guy on the planet.
The best.
So he writes me the next day because everybody's chewing him up in Kanawaki, like, you know. So he writes to me, and he says, Jacques, he says, I know you. He says, you're not a mean person, but he says you can't do that. You can't say stuff like that. So anyway, it's so funny, but but anyway,
Oh
I'm having a
man.
good time with this wrestling
No
academy, and that's the
kidding.
most important thing.
No kidding.
Hey,
It's open.
sorry to cut in there, Jacques. I want to know, since you guys are on the topic, and I don't think he would ask himself, especially not on air. So I kind of want to put a little flame in there. You're talking about commentary, and I know last year you had some special guest commentaries at every show.
Mm.
Would you consider having Frank Jofo fulfill a childhood dream and be perhaps guest appearance on one of the episodes of Wrestling Academy 2023 on the commentary team?
You know what? It could be a possibility for sure. It could be. It could
Ooh.
be a possibility. I'm gonna be a yeah. We could always work that in. You know, since
Okay,
I
we'll
have
see. We'll see.
we could always work that in there with because Jeremy's going to be there, so you could join in there on the fourth
I,
chair. And
I only asked because I was wondering if if do you think it would help or hurt the online product? Talking a little fourth wall here. If you guys had two versions of an English commentary and then another
Oh.
version where it comes out with French commentary.
you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Frank. Bruno. There's so many things that we need to make better in this
Oh
competition. You
yeah,
know,
for sure.
this was my first year. Like this is horrible.
It was
This
good.
was the
It was
most
a great,
horrible.
honest. It
This
was
was the
great.
most horrible new project that ever existed.
But if anyone watches all four of the shows, I came to all four. If anyone, even online, the online product, you literally saw it get better every
They
single
did.
show.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I kept saying to the guys. I said to Jeremy, I'm like, even in a 4-show span, you saw everything got better along the way. And like you
And you
said,
know, Bruno, it's so funny that you're saying that because you know I'm going to tell you who Jacques Rougeau is. Uh, there was a lot of people that were giving me the conseil, like advice. Jacques, you know, you should do this, be a lot better. And and for me, the most important thing wasn't even to monetize my thing and making money with it online. I could care less about it because the only thing that I wanted to was to give the money to the winners and give them the Nightmare Factory and that's the only thing that I wanted to do. And so it wasn't important for. So a lot of people were saying, "Oh, no, it could be a lot better if you do this or that." I said, "I'm having fun." I said, "That I
What it's
just
all
want to have,
about.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun, and I want the talent and the talent's getting great visibility." I did podcasts in Wales. I did some in Europe, everywhere in
Yeah.
Australia. I did podcasts in the United States from one end to the other, introducing the talent everywhere from Canada. So for me, it was just like help them out, give them visibility, and let them have fun. And me, it's like I've always been blessed with one quality in life. I have so many faults in life on me. If you get to know me, so many faults, but there's one quality I have, and I'm so happy that I'm blessed with, is I'm the type of guy that when I see someone happy, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I've never was jealous of anybody. I don't have that what do you call it? You have a quality and you have a fault, or how do you call it?
The what's that in English?
A
It's a
défaut.
yeah.
Yeah,
It,
yeah. False.
faults.
Yeah, so I have a lot of them, but I'm not jealous of anybody, and so my fun in life is when it's like, for example, if my neighbor won $1 million at the lottery, there's two kind of people: the one that go, "Oh, shit, how come it's always him?" or you could have me that's going
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's awesome,"
Congratulations. Yeah.
I'm happy for him. So I always had that part of me that I love about myself is when people succeed or people are happy or people are having fun. I'm having fun.
Well, that's what draws us to you, Jacques, because you have a big heart, and for what you did for Canadian wrestlers, I don't think you could be thanked enough. I'll say it again, thank you
No,
again. But
stop
then
it,
here we
stop
go,
it, stop it.
the second edition is coming up, and we got to start it all over again, and we're gonna make
But
4 more stars to
but
go on
Frank,
to the Nightmare Factory.
imagine this, Frank. Just imagine, yeah, Bruno. Imagine, no, Bruno and Frank. I'm talking to Frank. My girlfriend's in the back. She says it's Bruno. She says, no, it's Frank.
Frank,
She's my boss. Yeah, but she's my boss. So I gotta listen to her. But imagine here now. Imagine this. That when QT Marshall this year, he says, and the winner is going to be passing to the next round is so
Yeah,
and so.
yeah, I
And
can't
then
wait for that.
you're talking about $10,000.
Yeah,
Could you imagine? I almost feel like
nothing
starting
to.
to get in shape and starting. I feel like subscribing myself. But
Well, you know what, Jacques? There was somebody that was talking to me, and unfortunately, he's not a wrestler, but he's a manager, and you wanted to know if there was something there. Maybe there's going to be a
yeah, I
manager.
know, I
Sugar
know,
Shane Pinto, our favorite
I know,
manager
I
out
know.
there.
He's a great kid.
Maybe not
Great
this
kid.
year, but maybe for next year there could
Maybe
be
next
something.
year.
Maybe you never know.
Yeah,
You never
yeah,
know.
yeah. Tell me, and you know what? There's so much more we could do.
Yeah.
But there's just so much I can do by myself with my girlfriend. There's just so much. Like we just as of now that we're speaking now, like I gotta tell you something just between us, because I had I'm not gonna say some idiots. I'm gonna say some haters that were going around saying, "Oh, Jacques Rougeau filled this pocket this year with money." I gotta tell you something. This year in Wrestling Academy, we put like 1,500 hours of work on the website and at the show and putting into this business.
Yeah.
And I put $15,000 of my own pockets of Comic Cons and stuff like that I
Wow.
did. And I put it in there. It cost me 15,000 this year. So this year coming up, we have 3 winners of 10,000, so that's 30,000. But last year we didn't even figure all the plane tickets we buy and the hotels that we
There
buy.
you
We
go.
fly.
Nobody
So
thought
this
about
year,
it.
so as of now, we got 42,500 of sponsorships. So that's 30 for the winners and 12,500 for the airplane tickets and the hotels. But we need another
Hotels and
7.
yeah.
We need another 3 sponsors of $2,500 because we have 3 of 10 and we got 1 of 2,500. So we need 3 more. So we're going to try and get $50,000 of sponsorship to give to the talent. And you know how much I'm keeping on that?
Zero.
Zero.
Exactly.
Nothing. And I'm just going to take my money from the Comic Cons. But at least the good thing is I'm not going to lose any money with the project.
Exactly.
This year I invested 15,000.
Yeah.
This year coming up, I'd like to break even at least. So if everybody has their dream come true and I don't lose any money, I don't mind putting in the time, because when you
Yeah,
put
of
in
course.
1,500 hours and you're doing
course.
what you like to do, you're not working.
Yeah,
You're having
exactly.
fun. You know,
Exactly.
I'm just having fun.
And that's
So
what we
we need
did this
three
year.
more
Yep.
sponsors. Just to let you know, we need three more sponsors of $2,500, and we're going to give them the most exposure possible.
You hear
But
that,
the bottom
Montreal?
line is that's our goal this year, is to try to break even. You know, so for those, so I don't have a message for Vince for the Hall of Fame, but I have a message for the haters that if you think I put money in my pocket, you know, just take it back, okay? Just
Yeah.
take it back.
There you go. There you go.
People
Well,
people love to talk. That's all it is. You know what? As they always say, talk good, talk bad. Just talk
well,
about me.
that's all we
That's it.
heard here when Lutte Academy was going on, and you know what I told him, I go, you know what, just let it play out, let everything play out. I go, he said they were gonna have 3 months at the Nightmare Factory, it happened. $5,000 each, it happened. People that had to come here from other
AEW
from
in
yeah
Toronto, that
AEW
happened.
Toronto, they wrestled. Jeremy was the first match in Canada for AEW in AEW history.
And the
Check
dolls are
mark.
coming. The figurines are coming in 2 weeks.
Figurines are coming. They had the cards. You know, like it was unbelievable, and everything that you said came true. And it burns me that people think that you're still lying about this, and it's filling
But
your
that's
pockets because
okay.
it doesn't make any sense.
You know what? You know what, Frank? Let's take the heat off of the stupidity here and take a little heat off Jacques and let's get a little more like you said, the future talent. And you just brought up AEW, you just brought up Jeremy. Jacques brought up how Jeremy is gonna be on commentary,
Yeah.
which I already can't wait to hear. It's like better than hearing Jericho on Rampage every week. I can't wait to hear Jeremy on the mic. Speaking of Jeremy on the mic, one of the hottest wrestlers in wrestling right now, Jacques, is MJF. And I've been saying there's not a lot of people that I think could go up toe to toe with MJF on the microphone, in the ring, and just have a personality that people will be intrigued. What are your thoughts? Do you think Jeremy Prophet would has what it takes to perhaps have a very interesting, let's say, program with MJF?
You know what? Do I have to speak frankly here?
You can do whatever, say whatever you
You
want.
can say whatever you want. This is
All right,
just our effing opinion.
I'm gonna look like an idiot again, but that's okay. That's me. If I told you something, you're probably gonna blow your mind off. I'll explain to you in a second why. But who is MGF? Because see,
He's
I
the
haven't watched
AEW he's
wrestling.
the
I
AEW
haven't
champion
watched
right now.
wrestling in 30 years.
Okay,
So
so he doesn't know.
I don't know who he is.
Okay.
So I
We
see.
won't put this, Jacques. Don't worry. Don't
No,
worry.
but it's
No,
okay
no.
because is he with AEW now or
He's their champ.
WWE?
He's their
He's the
champion now.
AW World
He's their
Champion.
champion
Okay,
now.
see now when I started my program, it's very important that you know this. When I started my program with QT Marshall told me a year ago, he said, Jacques, I'm joining you with the Nightmare Factory, but he says we never say one word of AEW.
Okay.
Never one word. They're not joining in this project. It's the Nightmare Factory and me. So for the last 30 years, when I had a falling out with Vince McMahon, I just turned the TV off. And then, you know, for 20 years, I had my own federation, my own school, and I didn't
Yeah.
watch wrestling because I didn't want to. First
Get
of all, I
influenced,
was
yeah.
scarred. I didn't want to see Vince's face. That was the reason. And then the second reason was I didn't also want to take their storylines either and put it back into my shows. I wanted to create my own shows when I was doing my own shows. I was doing my own thing. And when QT told me at the beginning that AEW had nothing to do with this project, I said, okay. So I didn't start watching. And my girlfriend, she's so funny. She said, you should start watching AEW. You know, she said, but I'm saying I don't want, and I don't have a future with AEW. That's not what I want.
Yeah.
I'm 62 years old. I'm going to be 63 years old. What
Hey,
I want.
there was rumors that you were gonna come in one more match in AEW. There was
Nah,
rumors going around.
forget
Jacques
it.
is in Toronto. What's going on? I'm like, oh my god.
Forget it.
Oh my
Forget it.
god.
No,
I go,
that's
poor
not going to
Jacques.
happen. No, what I'm very thankful of is that that I'm bringing talent from Canada
Yeah.
into Atlanta, Georgia, and the Nightmare Factory, where one of the wrestlers is for WWE, two of the wrestlers are for AEW. They have a chance to make friends and get known and open doors.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything more. And I know I've heard those syllables MGF a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know the character. If you put three pictures in front of me on the screen and you'd ask me who is MGF, I wouldn't be able to choose who he is. But I guess he's. I know Chris Jericho because Chris Jericho he was wrestling with me in WWE when WWF, WWE,
Yeah.
when I started. I know, of course, I know Kevin Owens because from 14 years old up to 18 years old, he was my student. I'm the one who taught him how to walk, how to talk, and how to run. So I know him. I know also John Cena because I seen him in movies, and my students at the school were saying,
You
talking about
wrestled.
John Cena.
You wrestled the Billy Gunn too, right? And
Oh yeah, of
and
course.
now
The
he's
Smoking
teaching at the
Gun.
Nightmare Factory as well. So
I know a couple of names in there. Double J Jeff Jarrett, a good friend
yeah,
of mine.
Ooh.
yeah.
And the Rock. I could tell you
Doing
what
some great
color
work now.
is undertights. But anyway, all this to say, because the Rock, I worked with him as Marvia. When he was
Yeah.
younger. But I don't know. I know Undertaker because I worked against him. If ever you want to show a
Okay.
clip, you go on them and you can see a clip there of the Mountie
Yes,
against
yes.
Undertaker. That's awesome. I am the only guy who gave him 3 pile drivers in a row. But all that to say that no, I haven't followed wrestling,
Okay.
and I don't miss it. I don't regret it because it's the wrestling is part of my life. And but with my 3 sons, I had a great time for 20 years, and that was it. But as far as WWE was going and the other leagues, you know what? I went to Toronto. I was hoping I was going to meet Tony Khan, and I never had a chance to shake his hand. I know he was busy. It was his first time in Canada. I wish I
Busy
would have
guy.
shook his hand. I would have liked because I'd heard that he really liked old timers, or
Oh wow.
so I would have liked to have met him, but I didn't have the opportunity. And so when that happened, even then, I said to myself, well, my days are over, my time is over, But I
Hey.
just would have liked to be honest with you, that AEW, like in Canada, like on RDS or TSN, they would have mentioned. That they would mention this year. I'm gonna start nagging QT to say, hey, ask him to talk about Wrestling Academy, like the commentators, because we're talking about the greatest talent across Canada now.
There it is.
You,
Exactly.
you know, so they could. I'd like for them to mention Wrestling Academy this year. That's my goal,
Well,
not
they
to go
mentioned-
wrestle, just for them to mention it.
They mentioned that you trained Jeremy and Jessica on commentary on
Did
Dark.
On
they?
the dark. On the
Yeah,
dark. Yeah.
yeah,
There was
yeah,
Matt
there's-
Daddy
Matt-
Magic
Menard.
and Ian Riccaboni.
Oh yeah. Well,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
They mentioned-
Thanks. That's
Yeah.
nice to hear.
Well,
Yeah.
look,
That's
Tony, if you hear this, that jacket behind Frank over there. I'm sure when in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the nostalgia alone, the old school fans, like you guys said, they would love to see that jacket one more time in a ring. He's saying.
It's the Mountie. What Kyle wore to impersonate the Mountie. last time.
It's funny because I saw a segment with a guy, 2 guys that I didn't know, but they played in WWE. He came out dressed out like the Mountie there.
John Moxley and Brian
Yeah,
Danielson.
yeah, and I met him in Toronto, John Moxley, and it was so funny because he came up in front of me. I looked at him, I said, "Hey, I know you," and then he says, "How you doing, sir?" I said, "I'm the Mountie," and I looked at him, but he was very nice to me, and he was very nice to me.
He's
But,
married to a Canadian. He's married to Renee Paquette. I think that's her last name. She's from Toronto.
Oh, yeah?
Moxley, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know her,
So-
but
she's,
anyway, I'll just to say that he was very nice to me backstage. And you know what was fun too backstage? To be honest with you, that was amazing. I had
And you
guys
saw all
like
kinds of wrestlers there. There was Jericho as well. Tony
Hey, listen,
Schiavone,
I had guys like the Giant there, Paul,
Satnam Singh, Paul White.
No, Paul White, who came to see
Big
me.
Show.
Big hug. I thought he was going to marry me. And then there was a black guy, Mark Henry.
Mark
Mark
Henry.
Henry, he came up to me, big hug, and
World's strongest
there was
man.
a bunch of old timers that came to see me like me.
They were in WWF, WWE, and then they went to AEW now. So
and
they're
Tony
back.
Schiavone was really nice to me. He came up to me and, "Hey, Jacques, how you doing?" And so it was nice to see that the people that were with me in the WWF, and then they all came up to me and they were very nice to me. That was very fun.
Well, you've worked side by side with Tony Schiavone in WCW.
Yeah.
Was he in WWF when you were?
He was in
WWF?
WWE for sure. Yeah, he was in WWF actually when I I worked with him before. I worked with him quite a bit there, and he was very, very nice to me and Raymond both.
Unbelievable.
And it was so funny because I was going around telling everybody, they'd come up and see me and they tell me, "How's your brother doing?" I say, "He's the mayor."
It's true,
He's the mayor.
yeah.
And they'd all
Of
go like,
Rodden, right? Of Rodden?
yeah,
Is
and
that-
they'd all
yeah.
go like, "Holy shit!" Yeah. I said, "Another Jesse the Body Ventura." There. Okay. But it was fun to
Oh,
go.
man.
It was fun to be backstage. It was fun to, but it's funny how the more it's different, the more it's the same. Because the guys got there at 12 o'clock. there was the buffet there, and me and Natalie, we went backstage and we went to had the buffet. And then I took my cribbage game out. I used to play with Andre the Giant and Arnold
Okay.
Skolin,
Oh wow.
Tito Santana. I used to play cribbage all the time, all day long, until they called me for promos or performing that. So it was going back in nostalgically, like when my whole career there,
You're
But
getting those goosebumps back there, hey?
it
You're
was
getting-
fun. I gotta tell you, it was fun. I didn't see time. Time just went by so fast.
Well, at the Nightmare Factory, I don't know if you remember taking a picture with Jade Cargill. She was the African American woman.
She was a TBS champion.
She's the
right?
TBS champion, and you know what, Jacques? I'll tell you this: I took that picture and I put it on Twitter. She retweeted it. Everybody was freaking out. Tell me the experience of meeting Jade Cargill? The
Really?
TBS
Huh?
champion.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I could see there was two girls in the ring, and the one was French actually. One
Ashley
was,
Ambrosi.
she
Ashley,
had
yes.
some McKins that were French.
Yes.
Anyway, so
Ashley.
So I was there by the ring, and I was waiting to. Billy Gunn was in the ring with both of them.
Okay.
He was training. He was giving advice to both of them.
Okay.
And then I was on the outside like this, and I swear to God, I felt like jumping in and helping them. Like there was a few things I wanted to tell them, but it's none of my business, So I'm just staying on the outside, but my tongue is just turning in my mouth, like and I'm holding on to the outside of the apron there, and I'm not doing anything. And then finally, I told them, I said, I'm having a hard time to stay outside of the ring here. I want to go and help you guys, and there's a few things I'd like to help you. Billy Gunn said, come on in. I said, no, it's not my business, and then I said, but I'd like to have a picture with you guys, because I think I asked Jeremy, I'm not too sure if it was Jessica or Jeremy. I asked him, I said, who's that girl? And then he said, Jeremy told me she's the TBS champion.
Yeah.
I said, oh yeah, really? So then I just wanted to take a picture with her to put it on my Facebook. I'm a groupie myself.
She was the one who kicked Jeremy on AEW Rampage.
That's what he told me. You're right.
He
That's
was
what he told me.
he was security for Nyla Rose, and
That's what he told
she
me.
coincidentally kicked Jeremy right in the face. So, yeah.
And so it was great. Going to the Nightmare Factory was fun, and it's QT was so nice to us. We parked the Winnebago in the yard there. I have my Winnebago with my bike in the back of the Winnebago, and we parked in the and we met QT's wife, who's a trainer. She's a trainer there, actually.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. She trains people, and then Billy Gunn's wife is she's the coffee shop, the milkshake shop there.
Is it right? It's right next door, right?
It's in the same building. You just cross
Okay.
the
Oh
door
wow!
and you're in the same building.
It just opened. It just opened.
Oh yeah,
if I'm not
but
mistaken,
anyway,
yeah.
it was perfect. I was taking my milkshakes every morning, coming out of the
That's
Winnebago, go take my milkshakes, and they're actually our Facebook friends now. So
Oh,
I see
nice.
I see Billy Gunn's face all the time now. But
In tremendous shape, Billy Gunn, eh?
hey, you know what?
Holy moly!
One morning I went into the. It's the Nightmare Factory is like 3 compartments. There's one compartment where you have the 2 wrestling rings in the back, and then you have the whole gym that's set up, and then there's one corner in the back where it's like closed doors.
Okay.
But that's where the big boys go train. The free weights and the chucks. They put the hands and the straps, and they go put the deadlifts and QT was working out and with Billy Gunn, and they had something like 3 plates on each side there, on the 45-pound bar there, the Olympic bar, and they were doing full squats.
Wow.
And I was saying, holy shit, it's been a long time since I did that, and so it was it was fun to see them work out like that. Billy Gunn, just very impressive, he's got an older face, he's got like
still wrestling too.
I know. I couldn't believe his face is a little uglier than when he was young there when I used to see him, but his body was good. But I told him, I said, hey, a little bit of buttocks, it'd be good for you, But what a shape, his arms, his chest, and his shoulders, his legs, his calves. You can see the veins coming out of his legs still. I'm saying, and I actually told him, I said he had the belt around the waist there, to hold the I used to work out when I was working out heavy when I was like 25, 30 years old. I used to work out with that strap around to keep and he's still going at it, he's putting the knee wraps around, and the whole thing. And I was going like, holy shit, Billy, it almost seemed like it was yesterday, that you were still working out the same way.
It's crazy.
And, it was good to see them in the ring also too, and they were in the ring with Jeremy and Matt Black and Chris Dillon, and even Jessica was working with all of them, even the men and stuff, and it was funny to see they were going in there and tackle, drop down, and drop kicks and slams and big bumps, and I was going like, holy craps! These guys are really working. They're giving their bodies to these students. You know, it's what great opportunity for this talent to go in the ring with these superstars. You know, and for them to bump for them and to do all that.
Well, like you said before, Jeremy's he's been doing it for plus 15, 16, 17 years, and he's going and a lot of people said, oh, but he's going back to school. But you know what? You never stop learning in professional wrestling. And you know what? Kudos to him to get more on his playlist here now, to even become a better wrestler now. So when he does come back to Canada now, hey,
He
what?
definitely learns. He definitely learned a lot of stuff. And you know what's fun
yeah.
for me too? I'll tell you, a really good time for me is that on Wednesday they're doing TBS TV. You know, so he has to leave, but they have lessons anyway. So they got an extra coach there that's with them, like a B coach if you want there. You know, and so I asked Cutie on Tuesday before he left. I said, Tuesday, do you mind if I go in the ring a little bit and have some fun? He says, no, go. So I went to spend about a couple hours in the ring. And I took all the beginners. You know, there's 2 rings. So in one ring, they're putting matches together, and then and the people that are waiting to have their matches, they're in the first, just around the ring, just looking at the talent wrestle in the ring. So the first ring is empty. So I go in the first ring, and I ask the coach that's there. I said, do you mind? I said, if the people that are finished their match, if I take them in the ring and just show them a little basic stuff. And so he said, no, go ahead, John. So next thing you know, I start with the first match that's over with. They're in the ring. And then there's like 12 people on the outside on the left ring and 2 people in the ring wrestling. And there's only me and this one guy in the ring. And then the next thing you know is there's about 4 or 5 people around the ring where I'm in. And next thing you know, there's about 10 people around the ring where I'm in. And there's about only 2 people around the ring watching the other match over there. And I'm teaching how to take a headlock and how, like, you know, because I taught them in 2 hours. I taught them a lot of stuff because I taught them that they're coming in the ring, they're flat-footed, you know, they're going in there like they're gonna dance, have a dance. I said, hey guys, you want to impress your coaches? The minute you come up those stairs, the minute you go through those ropes, your eyes are on your opponent and you're on your toes. And you know, if the guy charges you, you're gone. And I said, you come in and you move. And then I said, when you lock up, I said, you just don't go ahead and lock up. I said, you got to do the snake. Boom. And then lock up. I said, put some expression in there. And, you know, and then, so I started just doing some basic little things with them. And I swear my class just came really full from the time that I was at the beginning. And it was like, it reminded me of my 20-year school that I had, you know, and it was like, I was living again my passion. It was fun. It was really fun.
You know what's funny? I saw somebody write something about QT Marshall, and you know what? It kind of I thought of it a little bit. 'Cause I think I could compare him like character wise to you. You both know how to draw heat in the ring. Great wrestlers. You see the little same things
Absolutely.
with
It's funny
QT?
that you say that because in Toronto, when I saw his match, when I got in the ring and I saw
he
his
was
match,
getting booed like crazy.
you know, I looked at him and he was one of the guys, one of the few guys in the whole show that I saw that still had the mentality that less is more.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do a little less, but do it with some character, with work your crowd. And you know, you could look at your crowd and you could go and you could say like, yeah, that's me, and then turn around and go back to what you're doing. Or you could look at your crowd and say, yeah, I could do it. What do you mean? You'll come in the ring with me. And then you turn back around. So you take that extra second, but the fan has a chance to react and connect with you. You know, and that's what I think they're missing today is the connection between the wrestlers and the fans. You know, and then QT Marshall, when he did his match, he was doing some moves and then he was working the crowd in the same way I was. You know, and I told him that. I could show you a text that I wrote him after the match. I said, hey, you remind me a lot of me, you know, when I was
were saying it like, wow, I feel like I'm watching Jacques here 20 years ago in the ring, screaming at the fans there with the taser in his hand there. It was great, man. QT Marshall, he's so valuable to AEW more than a lot of people know. And just what you're saying right now, I think he's a big asset for AEW and especially the Nightmare Factory.
You know, and another thing that was really awesome too at the Nightmare Factory that people have to look up to this and they got to be anxious to go to the Nightmare Factory, our winners, is because they take the 3 months and they have like in the afternoon they have a beginners class, and then in the evening they have an advanced class.
Okay.
You know, they have 2 classes per day on Mondays and Thursdays, and you know, and it's plus all the other days of the week it's the beginners and everybody. But what was great of what I've seen and that I was there as even yesterday, all my 4 winners, they were finishing up yesterday. But how they finish up is they take all the wrestling the workout machines out of the gym, they put stands in, and they do a wrestling show. So they
Okay.
finish. So they finish with a wrestling show with the students that were there for 3 months. They got to
Okay. Oh,
perform
wow.
in front of friends, family, and different wrestlers and different. So
That's nice.
so they get and they start by they don't even know how to lock up, and 3 months later they're doing a show
That's
in the
amazing.
place. So that they have a great way of doing things at the Nightmare Factory. I'm just so proud, and I'm pleased that that QT Marshall gave me this opportunity.
Well, you know what? We can't wait for the second edition of Lutte Academy in May, and we can't wait to see QT Marshall here live at Lutte Academy. It's going to be great to see. Is there any last words you want to give to everybody out here, Jacques, before we let you go?
Yes. Stay tuned, because I have a major scoop with QT Marshall, and I can't say it right now. But I have a huge scoop, and I will give it to you after the New Year's. I'll give it as we get closer. When QT Marshall comes to Montreal, something huge is gonna happen.
I like the sound of that. I like
You're
the sound
gonna
of
go
that.
nuts. When I tell you this, you're gonna go nuts.
So if people want to buy tickets for a Christmas gift, they could do that right now. Where can
Right
they
now,
go?
they could go on wrestling-academy.ca. Go on the Club Soda, actually.
Okay.
Go on the Club Soda. There's already. It's funny because I have this guy that's in Wrestling Academy, Gabriel Viano. He's such a he's going nuts on this thing, and he's from like the East Coast there, and Newfoundland, I think. Anyway,
Newfoundland.
somewhere around there, New Brunswick. And
Okay.
he has a bunch of people already that bought tickets for the Club Soda
Oh,
in
wow.
Montreal.
Nice.
Yeah. So go on the Club Soda Montreal and get your tickets reserved. There's only like 250 tickets to be sold, because 150 are kept for my sponsors
Okay.
that are the major sponsors. They all have 10 and 15 tickets each
Perfect.
that I promised them. So there's only like 250 tickets for the full show. It's starting on the 7th of May, and then it's going to be on the 4th of June. Those are quarterfinals. And then on the 20th of August, it's the semifinals. And then on the 17th of September is the big day where we give
There
the
you go.
$10,000 out, and we get the 3 months to the Nightmare Factory. So
There
go
you
on
go.
Club Soda. You can reserve your seats and then come join this Wrestling Academy, and you'll see it's like a reality show. This is awesome. You know, you'll be trying to guess who's going the next round, and it's really exciting.
Well, look, if everyone out there, if this is the first time you're hearing about Lutte Academy, go on to JacquesRougeau.ca. Check it out on his YouTube channel as well. Get to know the wrestlers, get to know everybody involved, and I guarantee you will be excited to see this product live when it comes to Montreal in May. Jacques, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And do you have anything else to say before you want to go? Or?
Lutte Academy.
There you go.
Wrestling-academy.ca. Go get to know all the characters that are there, all the personalities. And thank you so much, Frank and Bruno. For Bruno's, I didn't see you, Bruno, the whole show. That you're hiding behind the cameras there.
I'm in
That's
the back. I'm here.
We want to say hi to the boss too. There, where's the boss? Where's your boss there, Jacques?
Oh yeah.
Your
Now
girlfriend.
she's the Vince McMahon. She's behind the scenes.
She's the real
But,
Vince McMahon of Lutte Academy.
She's my Vince McMahon now. But thank you guys so much for your help, and I'm really looking forward for you guys to transmit this on YouTube for us. You are our platform. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to have QT Marshall live from Atlanta, Georgia, for the quarterfinals on the 7th of May.
We can't wait to witness that. And like you said, you have a big announcement with the QT Marshall after the new year. Everybody stay tuned for that. We will have that announcement here on Jofo in the Ring for Jacques Rougeau. And for everybody out there, remember, wrestling is life.
Wrestling Academy 2023, this is QT Marshall, and I am standing on one of the very rings here at the Nightmare Factory that 3 winners will have the opportunity to train in for 12 weeks alongside myself, the other coaches, Daddy S, AEW star and WWE Hall of Famer Billy Gunn, and the winner of the 2023 WWE Royal Rumble, the man that will headline WrestleMania, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Now, in addition to the 12-week training, of course, the cash prize of $10,000 will go in your pocket as well. But it seems like every time I make one of these videos, I always like to up the ante. And this one is no different. But this one will also help me achieve a personal goal. I've never wrestled in Montreal, Canada, and after a lot of talks, Jacques Rougeau and myself, you see, we've made a deal. Now for the semifinalists, while you won't make it to the finals, there is a consolation prize. So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is one of you will be chosen to step in the ring at the finals to go one-on-one with QT Marshall. And it's funny I said good news because the bad news is the exact same thing. You're gonna step in the ring with QT Marshall. There's only one way for me to truly see if you have what it takes. And that's for you to go one-on-one with the former God's gift and beat me in the middle of the ring. So semifinalists, get ready. Finalists, get ready. I am excited to come back to Montreal. I am literally chomping at the bit, standing in the ring, just waiting. So Wrestling Academy 2023, while last year was incredible, I already feel that this year is gonna be astronomical.
So, Jofo, I'm a gargle a shot for Kurt Hennig and everybody before we go.
Oh, no.
Jofo, thank you guys.